Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. All right, today I'm going to be answering another question, and this one is a doozy. And no doubt it is going to fire some people up. Some people are going to be livid with this video, but look, I'm going to lay it out in the most honest way I can. You know me. I'm going to tell you exactly what's on my mind, okay? And that question is, what is the best carry round? All right, I get this question all the time. Guys, I get hundreds, if not thousands of emails a week, and I try to respond to as many of them as I can. But sometimes if I get a question and it keeps jumping out at me a bit, I kind of go, you know what? I think I need to cut an episode on this because people obviously want to know the answer to this question. So that's how I pick these questions. If you guys ask them a lot, I try to answer them for you. So here I am. I'm going to answer it, okay? You might like the answer, you might not, but this is the answer, okay? Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends at Sonoran Desert Institute for supporting our videos. If you are looking for a career in gunsmithing technology, anything within the firearms realm, they are your go-to source. They've got great curriculum that they teach to learn about hand loading. I mean, just so many great instructors, great programs, wonderful distance learning opportunities, great financial incentives. Check them out, Sonoran Desert Institute, SDI, and tell them we sent you. Okay, so what's the best carry round? All right. It's a super easy answer, right? I can answer this so easily, okay? With projectile and powder design being what they are now, there are so many great carry loads for many, many different cartridges, okay? Now, there might be some cartridges that are a little bit on the more anemic side, like maybe your 25s and your 32s and things like that, and your 22s, right? Federal just released their Punch, which is like their 22 carry round. So they're actually touting the 22 as a potential defensive tool. With the advancements in bullet design and powders, there are so many different choices, right? So really, it just comes down to what gun you want to use, right? Okay, maybe you're the kind of person that you want to be able to shoot a heck of a lot of 9mm, and maybe you just love shooting 9mm, well then obviously you should carry a 9mm. I mean, if you've got thousands of rounds in an ammo can of 9mm because you take your match pistol out and shoot it in a match every other weekend or whatever you're going to do there, well then your carry gun should be a 9mm. Buy yourself some defensive ammo. You're already used to 9mm and the recoil impulse. You shoot it well. You compete with it. Well, then your carry gun should be a 9mm. Like, why change it up? Why stock a bunch of different ammo when there's no reason, right? All right, so the 30 Super Carry just came out. Chad and I, we filmed a video on the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus that is chambered in the 30 Super Carry. Now, am I going to go ditching every gun I own to carry the 30 Super Carry? No, I'm not. Now, if I was carrying it and that's all I had, would I feel that I was adequately armed with a really great gun that I knew that I had the capacity to shoot well? Absolutely. And so when we're putting these videos out on all these different guns, we're not trying to get you to go out and buy the latest and greatest, but it's easy for a guy like me to get jaded and forget that, some people are just getting into firearms. And what if 30 Super Carry was the first gun you were ever exposed to, and maybe you saw a video from one of your favorite YouTubers, or you just saw an ad, or you just saw one at a gun store and thought, wow, it looks pretty cool, I'm going to try that out. And you took it and did some shooting with it, did some training, and you actually shot it well. Well, then maybe that's the gun you should carry. Maybe you're a person that wants to carry a gun a lot, do a bit of training, but maybe you're not going to shoot a heck of a lot. Some people don't only get to the range, maybe 8 or 10 times a year or less. Some people might only get to the range a few times a year. So if you're not shooting a large volume of ammunition, by all means, choose any gun you want. So that's the way I look at it. Whether it's 40 Smith & Wesson, or whether it's a 38 Special or a 357 Magnum revolver cartridge, or whether it's a little small bore 22 long rifle, or whatever it is, make sure you're proficient with the gun. Make sure you choose quality ammo from a reputable manufacturer with a good defensive projectile, right? Make sure you have a decent quantity of magazines, and make sure it's a round that you can find readily and that, is common enough that you can generally get it whenever you want. And make sure it's a round that if it's something you're going to, try to buy a lot of, I probably would stick with something more common. Some of the cartridges that are a little bit more specialized, I mean, unless you just don't mind spending more money on the ammo. The ammo is going to be a little bit more expensive on stuff like 30 Super Carry or 7.5 FK Bernot or 10 millimeter. I mean, as much as I love the 10 millimeter, I think it's a fantastic cartridge, right? I've got a Kimber Super Jaeger hunting pistol. We haven't done a video on it yet, but we will soon. And it's a fantastic gun, and I love 10 millimeter. It's awesome. But have you checked the price on 10 millimeter lately? It's not exactly cheap, especially in the defensive round category. So what you choose, what's the best carry round? The best carry round is what you can afford to buy in quantity and train with and shoot with and actually be proficient with, right? If 45 ACP or 10 millimeter is too much for you to handle and you can't shoot it accurately because the recoil is a little heavy, then maybe that's not the right gun for you. Maybe you need to work your way up or shoot a 9 mil. And there's a lot of people out there that are all macho about, well, if you don't carry a 44 Magnum or a 10 mil or some big bore cartridge, you're just a weakling, right? But don't let them get to you. The cartridge you need to carry is what you can shoot with well, what you can carry, what you'll carry every day, what you have extra magazines for, what you have stockpiles of ammo that you can go out and train and shoot, what you can go to your average store and buy and get in quantity just about anywhere you go, right? So that's not a dig on 30 Super Carry or 7.5 FK or any of these other oddball cartridges. They're awesome cartridges. Even the 10 mil could be, put in that category. Even the 40 cal, 40 Smith & Wesson could be put in that category. They're all great guns. 40 Smith & Wesson is probably the king of one-shot stops on the street, primarily just because its association with law enforcement for so many years. There's a lot of data on 40 Smith & Wesson to support the fact that it is a good one-shot stop with proper shot placement, but that's because there's been so many law enforcement officer-involved shootings, and the data, can kind of back that up. Why do people associate 22 as being so deadly? Well, is it that people, is it that 22 is more deadly than anything else? No, it's just because the data shows because 22 is so common, a lot of people have been killed with 22. So eventually you can't help but think, well, wow, like maybe 22 is no slouch, right? I mean, I know you've heard people say, well, if you think 22 is so weak, well, then why don't you stand in front of it while I'm shooting it? And nobody ever wants to agree to stand in front of a 22. So people, I'll leave you with this. People psych themselves out. They psych themselves out and they think, well, I have to have the newest and greatest, or I have to have this or that, or whatever. Oh, my Uncle Bob has whatever carry gun. Look, remove everyone's opinions from the situation and ask yourself some very simple questions. How much do you want to shoot? All right. Are you going to want to shoot a heck of a lot? Do you want to buy something that's got some reasonably common mags that aren't too expensive, reasonably common parts, right? That's really what it comes down to, is the volume of shooting you're going to do. Because some of these oddball cartridges, as great as they are expensive. I always go back to 9 mil. I've been shooting for a long time, since I was 8 years old. So over 30 years I've been shooting. And I've shot a lot of pistols. And I always go back to my suppressed 22 and my 9 millimeter carry guns for defensive use, because it's just, it works. I can shoot it well. I've got fast follow-up shots. Your mileage may vary. It just depends on what you want to do. So what is the best carry round? The round that's in your gun, that is on your hip when you need it and that you will carry every day. That's the best carry round. I did all the hard work for you, so there you go. Have yourselves a great day. There's the answer to the question. I don't think I'm ever going to be changing my mind on that unless something miraculous happens in projectile and powder technology in the next 10 or 20 years. I think I'm always just going to lean back on old Mr. 9 mil, and I think he and I are going to be okay. All right, but thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. Go over to Ballistic Ink and pick yourself up a snazzy new t-shirt. That's one way you can support our videos if you wish to do so, like the one I'm wearing, and many other designs. Thanks so much, and keep those emails coming. I do read them. I can't always respond, but I try to make these videos to respond to some of y'all that ask the same question quite a bit. So thank you. Have a great week. Many more videos on the way. We'll see you soon.